Welcome back to the Quick Focus Blueprint program, and it's an honor to be your focus coach in this process. I want you to take a quick moment right now, and I'd love for you just to reflect and do a quick check-in, if you will, on this past week. I mean, we've just spent a little over a week together. Can you imagine? I don't know if it feels like it's going fast, or if it's slow, or maybe it just feels just right for you. But what I would love for you to do is do your own quick review and check in the comments section. How has it been? Now, I realize that you are with me here, and we have people from dozens and dozens and dozens of countries around the world. We live in different locations, we are different ages, we have different careers, and so on. Yet, how has it been so far? Because remember, we're doing this together as a community. We're doing this together as a team. Remember what TEAM stands for, T-E-A-M. Together, everyone achieves more. And that's what we're doing it together. So you're not alone. And so just review. And what I would love for you to do right now is looking at your notes. If you have your Quick Focus journal, if you purchased a journal for yourself online or at the bookstore, or you're using a notepad, I'd like you to go through it and just maybe also list your big ahas, your eureka moments. What so far has really stood out in the past week or so that you're really going to implement? Or maybe you have some success stories that you could share, because I'm sure it'll inspire everyone that we're on this journey together. And so I would love for you to share your big aha. I call these quickenings, right? Quickenings. There's just like these awakenings. And again, a lot of this information you may have heard before, or maybe you're hearing it in a different way, or maybe you're also in a place in your life where you're ready to get to that next level. And so I would love for you, in addition to sharing your stories, is sharing your big ahas in the comment section. Now, what are we going to talk about today? Today, we are going to talk about the thing for what most people, I do believe it's one of the biggest impacts to your focus and your concentration, or lack thereof, and that's sleep. Sleep. Now, when I say this, I know people are coming from different places. Some people, you might be one of those people who have perfect sleep. You could just go to bed, and within 30 seconds from your head hitting the pillow, you're just out. And that makes me jealous. It really does. For years, I suffered from sleep apnea, which is a breathing disorder where I wasn't getting enough oxygen. I would stop breathing maybe over 200 times in the evening. And each time was more than 10 seconds, I would wake up suffocating. And so sleep is a real issue, because I know very personally what it means when you're only getting a couple hours of sleep a night. And when I'm traveling and going out of the country and jet lag and all this, because we know that good sleep helps us to think clearly. We know it helps us to remember more and to make better decisions. And how do you feel when you don't get enough sleep? Specifically, how is your focus? We know that lack of quality sleep impairs our executive functions, right? A set of abilities that we need to do well, whether we're in school, at work, or in all realms of our daily life. And it's estimated about 1 in 3 Americans in this country, adults, don't get sufficient sleep on a regular basis. And that's tragic, right? Because the causes could be anything. And you really should, as I go through this, is to talk, if this is something you suffer with and struggle with, in addition to maybe applying some of these quick tips, is to talk to your health practitioner, okay? Because many things can range from anywhere from poor sleeping habits to sleep disorders like obstructive sleep apnea, to work shift related issues. Maybe you're working late at night. No matter the cause, there is no adjusting or getting used to sleep loss. It affects all humans regardless of our age or health or our career. So here I'm going to go through a number of steps, different things you could do to be able to get yourself into bed and get to sleep. Because one of the big issues is we know that when you lose sleep, it's harder to focus and it's harder to pay attention. And this affects your performance, whether it's at job, whether it's at work, or just in general in life. We also know that lack of sleep slows down your reaction time, making it very dangerous to do things like driving. And so there's those real risks that we have by not getting enough sleep. And when it comes to your work, we know that sleep feeds your creativity, it feeds your ability to synthesize new ideas. It leads you to more of those ahas that I was talking about earlier. We know that research shows that when we get a good night's sleep, we feed our high-level innovative thinkings and our problem-solving abilities. And as you sleep, being a memory expert, I know this, is that memories are reactivated, connections between brain cells are strengthened, and information is transferred and consolidated from your short to your long-term memory. And without enough quality sleep, we can become forgetful. And studies suggest that sleeping shortly after we learn new information actually helps us to retain and recall that information later. And so how do you do it, right? How do you get better sleep? So I'm going to pull a number of tips for you right now, and you don't have to do everything here, but I would say test it on yourself. Be wise, use common sense, talk to your health practitioner, and I'm going to go through a few of them. And a few of them right now I'm going to take from my good friend Dr. Michael Breus. Now, if his name is familiar, you might have seen him on Dr. Oz over 40 times. He keynotes our Quick Brain conference also as well. So I'm going to give you his 4 steps, 5 steps, whatever, see what we have time for right now on how to maximize your sleep. So step number 1, according to Dr. Michael Breus, they call him the sleep doctor, is to know your bedtime and stick to one sleep schedule. Now, what does that mean? It means that of all the sleep tips you could ever read or hear about, one of the most important things is to stick to a schedule every day. This means going to bed and waking up at the same time each day. When sleep has a regular rhythm, your biological clock will be in sync and all of your other bodily functions will go smoother, including your sleep. So set schedule. I would say step 2, according to Dr. Michael Breus in my conversations with him, is to eliminate stimulants. He recommends eliminating things like caffeine starting around 2 p.m. And you might be thinking, are you serious? How can this guy recommend me not having my coffee past 2 o'clock? And it's really simple. Caffeine has what it's called a half-life of about 8 hours, which means that its level is reduced, but still somewhat effective in our system after that time. So caffeine is a stimulant, and it can prevent you from either falling asleep or having a good quality sleep. The third step, according to Dr. Michael Breus, is this: no alcohol within 3 hours of bedtime. And so for years, sleep researchers have known that alcohol is the #1 sleep aid in the world. If you look back at the results of a 2005 Sleep in America poll, you will find that 11% of those polled use alcohol as a sleep aid at least a few times a week. And another study concluded that in Detroit area showed that 13% of those polled had used alcohol as a sleep aid in the past year. However, the reality is alcohol is not the answer to getting better sleep. While alcohol can make you sleepy, it also does the following to detract from your sound sleep. Number 1, it keeps you from reaching the deep stages of sleep. Number 2, it dehydrates you. And number 3, it awakens you in the middle of the night, usually to go to the bathroom. And so having a few drinks before bedtime will increase your NREM sleep, which is your stage 1 and 2, and reduce your REM sleep. You remember that REM sleep helps you to be able to organize and store memories. Too little REM sleep can be devastating for your brain and your body. Step 4 that he recommends is stop exercising 4 hours before bed. No one would argue that exercise isn't good for you. It keeps your bones, your muscles strong, maintains good cardio health. Many of Dr. Breus's sleep patients who lead sedentary lives and don't exercise regularly are missing out on an excellent sleep remedy. Data suggests not only that exercising during the day will help you sleep more quickly and plunge into your deeper sleep for longer periods of time, but also exercising causes your body to produce growth hormones, which help you to repair and revitalize itself. Dr. Breus notices that many of his patients report they sleep better with regular exercise and they feel more alert and rejuvenated all day. And that's something that our friend Sean Stevenson has mentioned also as well. Sean Stevenson, best-selling author of Sleep Smarter, is also a presenter at our conference. And he talked to me the other time about exercising in the morning actually is really good. A study done by Appalachian State University had people exercise at 7 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m. And on average, morning exercisers spent time in the deepest, most anabolic stages of sleep. They slept longer and had more efficient sleep cycles. Morning exercisers also had a 25% greater drop in blood pressure in the evening, which is correlated with the activation of your parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest system. So definitely take advantage of these benefits by exercising for even just 4 or 5 minutes in the morning. And I'm not saying that's your workout for the day, but just easy body weight squats, burpees, morning exercises helps to reset your cortisol, upregulate your metabolism, and just going to help you sleep better. So I like this idea of exercising. Just don't do it before you go to bed. And finally, Dr. Bruce's number 5 step is this: give the sun a high five every morning. And he suggests 15 minutes of morning sunlight. So what does that mean? Getting outside in the sun for 15 minutes each morning helps to regulate the production of melatonin. And that's your sleep hormone, right? Your internal body clock, which is your circadian rhythm, runs on a 24-hour schedule and functions best when you're exposed to a regular pattern of light and dark, and malfunctions in your circadian rhythm because of changes in the light and dark exposures can negatively impact your ability to get a good night's sleep. And so those are the 5 tips from Dr. Michael Bruce. Again, number 1, know your bedtime and stick to one sleep schedule. Number 2, eliminate all caffeine after 2 p.m. Number 3, no alcohol within 3 hours of bedtime. Number 4, stop exercising 4 hours before bed. Preferably do it first thing in the morning. And number 5, give the sun a high five every morning, which means 15 minutes of morning sunlight. Now, because I am abundant and I know we go a little bit long in these sessions and I want to be respectful of your time, but I also want to deliver for you, I'm going to give you a couple more quick tips that have worked for me specifically. So we talked about exercise in the morning. That's something I do each morning. Number 2, we also talked about the bright light exposure. That's really important. So that's something I do personally. Your body has a natural timekeeping clock known as your circadian rhythm, and it affects your brain, your body, your hormones, helping you stay awake and telling your body when it's time to sleep. So that natural sunlight is very important. What I would say, something that's I think very important, is not just increasing the light in the morning to yourself, but also on the opposite spectrum, reducing the blue light exposure in the evening. And what does that mean? Exposure to light during the day is definitely beneficial, but nighttime light exposure has the opposite effect. And that just kind of makes sense, right? For the same reason that dimming lights can cause a spike in melatonin production to help you fall asleep, bright blue light, and that's what it is, blue light from smartphones, from iPads, from screens, can counteract this effect. So light from such devices can trick your brain into thinking it's daytime, causing those sleep-inducing melatonin levels to drop. Again, this is due to its impact on your circadian rhythm. So it's tricking your brain, and it reduces hormones like melatonin, which help you to relax and get your good night's sleep. And the blue light is the worst in this regard. It's emitted in large amounts from electronic devices, like computers and televisions and smart devices. And so there are a couple of things that I would recommend at nighttime. First of all, the last hour or two, you shouldn't even look at a screen, period. But if you are, then you can wear glasses that block blue light. So that's not going to affect you. Other things, if you have to be on your devices, you could download an app such as Flux, F.Lux, and that helps to block the blue light on your laptop or on your computer. You can install an app that blocks blue light on your smart devices. These are available for your iPhones, your Android phones. They all have settings like that. And also, stop watching TV and turn off any bright lights a couple hours before heading to bed. And that's really key for me. So I talk about morning routines and building morning routines because it helps me to focus, to jumpstart my brain, to be focused on the things that I need to get done, but also having evening routines. And a lot of these things that we're mentioning in this session is about creating routines and habits. Because remember, first you make your habits and then your habits make you. Other things that I do personally that I've found has worked really well is really optimizing my bedroom, meaning that many people believe that the bedroom environment and its setup are really key factors to getting a good night's sleep. And so when you're thinking about environment, I'm thinking about temperature, I'm thinking about noise, I'm thinking about the mattress, like the furniture choices, I'm thinking about clearing clutter like we talked about in a previous session, I'm talking about external lights. All these things play an effect, right? And so My friend Sean Stevenson, who wrote Sleep Smarter, and we've had him on our podcast also as well, talks about creating a sleep sanctuary, And it affects all these things play a role. And if you want to really be a high performer, if you want to have better focus, who knows, one of these things can make all of the difference for you. There was one study investigating that bedroom environment of women found that around 50% of participants noticed an improved quality of sleep when reducing noise and light. That was it, noise and light, all of a sudden 50% increase. Body and bedroom temperature can also profoundly impact sleep quality. So you might be experiencing this during the summer when on vacation. It can be very hard to get a good night's sleep when it's too warm. So generally, we're looking at about 68 degrees, definitely keeping it on the cool side. And then one other thing that I do, I use blackout curtains in the bedroom. Because your body even has photoreceptors. It's sensitive to light. They did studies where they put a little light behind somebody's kneecap, at night, and that disturbed their sleep. So even a little bit of light could really throw people off tilt. So getting rid of the clocks in your bedroom, or at least using blocking them in some way, is very important, keeping it up cool. And then the last thing that I would recommend for me personally is I meditate. And this is a great thing to do at night because it helps you to relax and clear your mind in the evening. Many people have some kind of pre-sleep routine that helps them to relax. And so for me, meditation has always been the go-to. Relaxation techniques before bed have been shown to improve sleep quality, and other common techniques to help be able to treat things like insomnia. So, some people will get a relaxing massage, improves quality of sleep for ill patients. And so many of the strategies you could use, whether it's listening to relaxing music, taking a hot bath, deep breathing, visualization, all something that's worth trying. And then again, the last thing I would end with is just rule out any sleep disorders. There can be many people who are really suffering from sleep disorders that are misdiagnosed or not diagnosed. And so an underlying health condition may be the cause of your sleep issues. And so one common issue is sleep apnea. That's the issue that I struggle with for so many years, which causes inconsistent and interrupted breathing. People with this disorder stop breathing repeatedly while sleeping, and this condition may be more common than you think. One review found that 24% of men and 9% of women have sleep apnea. And there are other medically diagnosed issues, including sleep movement disorders and circadian rhythm, sleep-wake disorders, which are all common in shift workers also, people who work really late nights. And so if you struggle with sleep, it may be really wise to be able to speak to a doctor about it. Anyway, we've gone way over time. I want to thank you for your attention and your time and your focus in this session. Here is your homework. Go through these steps. And if you struggle with sleep, I would love for you to pick one thing, just one step, one tip that really stood out for you, and then list that in the comments section. I want you to pick one tip. Everything was very usable, and the one thing that you're going to change. You don't have to do everything, but notice the things that work. So test this with yourself tonight, and then post in this section, back in this section, what really worked for you. And I wish you really sweet dreams with this. I wish you all the best to be able to get good night's sleep, and I look forward to seeing you fresh and alert tomorrow. Take care.